How's it going, everyone? Day 3 of training camp has officially concluded and not too long ago. So the weather for today's training camp was a lot better than yesterday. Yesterday was completely torrential downpour for most of it. Today, just a cloudy day. No severe winds were really reported. So a good day for the offense to try to do better than pretty much the last 2 days or the first 2 days of training camp, where they've pretty much looked abysmal. So coming into today, there were some slight injury updates. So starting from top, Jordan Love did show up once again, but doesn't have a new contract, so he is not practicing. Corey Ballantyne's still on the NFI. Keaton Oladapo is on the NFI. Marshawn Lloyd is still out with that hip injury. Donovan Jennings and Caleb Jones are on the PUP list, along with Tucker Kraft. Now, Elgton Jenkins was seen today at practice, but he did not participate. Today was just a veteran rest day and nothing to be worried about. And Jaden Reed showed up. He has come off the NFI list and actually was able to participate in a limited fashion on individual drills, but did not participate with any team reps. So glad to see he's finally coming along and joining the team, at least for some drills. So hopefully in the next couple of days on their next training camp, he might actually be able to participate in the team reps. So now starting with the offense first, like usual. So with the first team offense in walkthroughs for the lineup, you had Sean Clifford, Josh Jacobs, Dontavian Wicks, Jaden Reed was in there, considering it's just a walkthrough, and then Christian Watson, Luke Musgrave at tight end. Then for the offensive line, you had Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Sean Ryan over at left guard, considering Elgton Jenkins was out due to the vet rest. Then you had Josh Myers at center, Jordan Morgan coming in to play right guard and get more reps with the first team, then Zach Tom over at right tackle. But then when it came to the team reps, Zach Tom did come out as he didn't really participate in any of the team reps. And then Kadeem Telfort was pretty much the starting right tackle for the Packers, while Andre Dillard was pretty much benched and practiced with the twos. He's struggled so far in the first 2 days, and it looks like he's kind of fallen out of grace. So Kadeem Telfort has pretty much taken the right tackle position until Zach Tom comes back. And now for how the offense did today, considering the weather fared better and wasn't torrential downpour. It wasn't better at all. It actually sounds like it was worse today than it was yesterday, considering it's a better weather. And Sean Clifford has looked abysmal still. So in total, out of all 3 quarterbacks, they have thrown 5 picks total today. And all 3 quarterbacks contributed to them: Sean Clifford, Michael Pratt, and also Jacob Eason. And it's kind of sounding like, or looking like, potentially that maybe Sean Clifford, if he continues this way, Michael Pratt, who did fare a little bit better and looked a little bit better than Sean Clifford, he might take him over for the number 2 spot. So there's definitely a quarterback competition brewing over there for the number 2 spot. But also, we really need to get Jordan Love signed to figure out and get a better offense out there. Because right now, the defense is kind of just toying with the offense, and it has been atrocious. Offense has looked non-existent for the most part. In the rare flashes, Grant DeBose has had a good showing. Dontavian Wicks, he actually was able to break up an interception where Jair Alexander was going to pick it off, but Wicks turned into a DB and was able to break it up. So he's had a continuing good camp so far. And then Kadeem Telfort, right tackle, who did come in and played with the number 1s, he actually had a good block on Rashawn Gary, where he was able to absorb a power move from Rashawn Gary and pretty much anchor him down and hold his ground. So that's very good showing, especially considering Andre Dillard was terrible and just got blown past and destroyed the entire time. And unfortunately, that is kind of all to talk about with the offense. Offense hasn't really done anything the past 3 days. They've looked abysmal, and they're really missing Jordan Love. So we'll need Jordan Love to sign his contract to fully figure out, A, where this offense can be, and we kind of have an understanding of where they actually are, in a sense, based off last year, but how they're going to look in training camp and how good this defense potentially is, because so far they've looked lights out. So moving on to the defensive side. So over at the safety position, you've had Xavier McKinney pretty much set at that spot, and they've been rotating who's been playing opposite side of him. Today was Bullard, and yesterday was Williams. So still continuing that rotation and pretty much getting a lot of reps for both of these safeties to try to compete for that spot, and they've both played well. Now over at the linebacker position, you've had both Quay Walker and Isaiah McDuffie, who was getting reps with the number 1s. He was with the number 1s today. Then you had Eric Stokes, and then Nixon, and then Jair Alexander over on the outside in slot. And then with the defensive line, you had Rashawn Gary, TJ Slayton, Kenny Clark, and Preston Smith over there. So Defense isn't really interchangeable. Like, not much has been going on except for Bullard and Williams pretty much rotating opposite side McKinney. Then McDuffie kind of getting some reps at the number 1, and it's kind of had that, but we'll see if that changes as training camp progresses. But now, something to note with Keyshawn Nixon, they also had Kalen King in the individual drills. He was the only other cornerback with the slot cornerbacks and none of the other players. So not sure if they're kind of getting him more reps, if they want to try to create some type of competition there, but something to note that Kalen King was getting individual drill reps at the slot corner position. And for this practice, it was dominated not just by the defensive line. They've had their share. Rashawn Gary had another sack, but it wasn't as much as it was yesterday. But the back end had a field day with 5 interceptions, 2 by Eric Stokes, 1 by Evan Williams, 1 by Anthony Johnson Jr., and 1 by Benny Sapp. So a lot of picks happening, and that could be from the defensive line kind of getting in there, pressuring them, and then them making some pretty bad throws, especially with Sean Clifford making some pretty ugly looking throws from how it sounds like. And with staying with the defensive backs, Carrington Valentine continued to have a decent camp so far. He didn't have an interception. He almost had an interception, but he was at least able to break up a pass against Michael Pratt. So he's had 3 pass breakups in 3 days. So he's had a very good camp, continuing to trudge along. Eric Stokes did have a good day. So as of right now, Eric Stokes has that job locked down, but Carrington Valentine is right on his heels. And that's, once again, the one player where could take his job. It's going to be interesting to see how they compete. And if Eric Stokes, with that talent that he actually, or that potential that he has, if he gets that job, what are we going to do with Carrington Valentine? Because he's really good and probably should have some type of spot with his team. He's definitely going to make the 53-man roster, especially with how he's performed last year and continuing in this training camp. But where and how are they going to use him going forward if Stokes is the number 2 corner? And then lastly, over onto the special team side, all we had for the kicker position was James Turner today. They're pretty much rotating. One day James Turner, then the other day it'll be Anders Carlson and Greg Joseph. So today was James Turner's turn. He went 2 for 3 in the first round of kicks, and then 2 for 3 again in the second round of kicks. So once again, went 4 for 6, and he's currently sitting at 8 for 12 for the entire training camp. So as of right now, he's still doing statistically the worst. We'll have to wait till later on, considering there are no training camp practices tomorrow, of how Greg Joseph and Anders Carlson do in their respective reps. But that about sums up what happened today at training camp. Once again, 3rd day in a row, the offense has looked abysmal. Take it with a grain of salt. Jordan Love's not there, but still, we need to get Jordan Love into camp. We need to finally just give him the contract extension, get him into camp, and get a real offense out there. Because right now, Sean Clifford and Michael Pratt and Jacob Eason are not doing it for us. But let me know what you think down in the comments. If you like the video, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and as always, go Pack Go.